Hi, this is Chico Resch. You are listening to the Let's Go Devils podcast on the Primetime Radio Network.
Happy Devils Tuesday! Welcome to Game Day Live, presented by the Let's Go Devils Podcast Network and the Primetime Radio Studios, along with Crew Brew. My name is Vinnie, Parise, and I am here with my good friend who doesn't feel like doing the intro right now, Sam, the Crew Brew Master Woo. We are excited to join everybody who is watching on Facebook, YouTube, Twitch, wherever it is you are coming from, as the New Jersey Devils take on the Dallas Stars. Sam Woo!
Well,
You diverted from me to do the intro.
Well, you know what? It was a sign of respect because you and Shorts Guy have been the mainstays this season with Game Day Live. You guys have been doing majority of the workload. I'm like, who the heck am I to come in and do the intro?
The boss man.
Yeah, but you know what? That's out of respect to you guys. You guys do a great job when I'm not on. Producing behind the scene. But, yeah, we got a big game tonight, Devils versus Stars. But even in bigger news with no news, this is what the Devils do. They prolong the agony for marketing purposes, which, again, just tell us what you know.
I wonder if the fact that the trade deadline is Friday afternoon has a lot to do with whatever it is the Devils are keeping, or maybe they're not. Maybe they are waiting because I've seen multiple people report it. It could be the Devils leaking that to them, obviously. Kevin Weeks, Pierre LeBrun, Elliot Friedman, all the big wigs. There was a report yesterday that it wasn't as bad as people feared. But, I mean, the way some of the players were talking about Jack Hughes today didn't
Where did that report come from, though?
It was NJ.com's guy, Gabe.
Okay.
So, not totally unbelievable, but also, like, what the players and staff were saying today didn't make me feel all, great about that report from yesterday. I won't lie. Also, things change. So I'm not going to jump down this guy's throat. I'll probably just forget about it and take anything he says going forward with a grain of salt. But if he's right, then that would just be great news for everybody. I'd be happy for him for getting a good scoop. But until then, I'm just holding my breath. The New Jersey Devils need Jack Hughes. Since being drafted by the New Jersey Devils, Jack Hughes has played in 368 games. In those 368 games, he has 351 points. He's almost a point per game, and that's remembering the fact that he had 21 points in 82 games in his rookie year. He has almost completely made up for it and made himself close to being a point per game player in the NHL. He will be a point per game player in the NHL by the time his career is all said and done. So far this season, he has 70 points in 62 games played, about on pace for 96, 97 points. With a really good week, he could break 100 easily if he were healthy. And 243 of those points in his career have come in the last 202 games. So he's been well over a point per game season since the start of the 22-23 season. There's no doubt that he is one of the best offensive players in the National Hockey League. They're going to miss him. I know Nico Hischier's the best two-way forward on the team. Jesper Bratt's the best winger on the team. Timo Meier's the best power forward on the team. Jack Hughes is the best player on the team. There's no doubt. I mean, 11 points in 12 playoff games. His defense has gotten much better this season. He's been killing penalties. He basically had a true defensive center role with Team USA at the Four Nations face-off. They're losing Mr. Everything with Jack. And he's 23 years old. Imagine when he's 26, 27, 28, the way that the Nate Dogg took a big step when he reached those ages. Austin Matthews is starting to see that come to fruition for himself as he reaches those ages. Jack Hughes is a couple years behind them. He'll get there. We'll see if, being a little bit older and stronger helps him avoid scary situations like we saw against the Vegas Golden Knights on, Sunday evening. So it's just tough. It's really tough. I don't blame people for being down. Since that moment, I've been in a bad mood. I don't like it. I wish it were different. but it's something the New Jersey Devils now going forward against one of the best teams in the NHL, Dallas Stars, have to figure out a way to get by.
I'm going to say a couple things controversial here.
Mm-hmm.
One of the comments, Dubs is like, Jack went to Colorado to the same doctor where he got the surgery. Can't be good. No, it's called covering your ass. This is what happens when injuries, you have to cover your butt here. You don't want any kind of medical malpractice or whatever, or you overlook something. No, that's standard protocol. Just to make sure you go to the experts, you rule it out, and then once you've got the confirmations, you're fine. Or
it doesn't not mean he'll have surgery again.
Yeah.
But it also doesn't mean it does.
Yeah, it's just standard protocol. Till we hear otherwise, that doesn't mean anything at this point. And also, I'm going to say if Jack Hughes is out for an extended period of time, I'm going to argue that if this team is for real, they're going to be even better without Jack Hughes. And the reason why I say that is Jack Hughes, yes, they rely on him a lot from the scoring, bringing the puck into the zone, the power play, all that. But they still have enough firepower as a team to live without Jack Hughes. I'm not saying Jack Hughes is not valuable, but I honestly think this could be a blessing in disguise and make this team, force this team to play well defensively in front of their own net because they're going to get hurt scoring, and also team offense. Again, start getting those dirty goals. I think sometimes Jack out there, we call him Mr. Turnover sometimes. I think he's done better since the Four Nations, protecting the puck a little bit better. But yes, the Devils will miss Jack Hughes, but I still think this is a playoff-bound team if they want to be.
Timo Meier already has 1 goal in March. He led the NHL in March goals last year, and that was subsequently after Jack went down. Now that Jack is out, you presumably believe that Timo Meier will be on the top power play unit. He will be on the first line with Nico Hischier and Jesper Bratt. And the difference between this year and last year is this year the Devils enter this little Jack Hughes injury scare, 6 points up on a playoff spot. Last year, they entered it 6 points down of a playoff spot. So there's some room to wiggle with. Columbus is red hot. I mean, there's divine intervention going on with that team. If the Devils end up a wild card team with the way this season has gone, I mean, you just got to kind of hope and pray they make the playoffs, because it's still, people still do forget, when is a team ever get their best player to be 23, 24 years old and they win the cup right away? It just doesn't happen.
Who's the best player on the New Jersey Devils right now? Who's having the best season?
Who's having the best season? Oh, I think it's Jack Hughes. Besides him?
Well, I'm saying, tell you the truth, I think Nico Hischier's had a better season than Jack Hughes. His overall game has been better.
Well, Nico Hischier, I was at the casino a couple weeks ago, and I was taking a look at some of the futures, and he has the second best odds to win the Selke Trophy, only behind Alexander Barkov, who has won it twice already, and probably will win a couple more before he's all said and done in his career too. You're not going to get any argument about Nico from me. Nico doesn't produce at the offensive level that the Devils or that Jack Hughes does, and that's kind of New Jersey's issue right now, because they, so far this season, I have more stats for you. They so far this season have been one of the best defensive teams in the National. I mean, there's just no arguing it. They so far, coming into tonight's game against Dallas, team save percentage, New Jersey, tied for third, 907. Most games allowing 2 goals or fewer this season. New Jersey also tied for, or in second. They've only had 33 games where they've allowed 2 goals or fewer this season. Winnipeg is the only team ahead of them, 34, and they have Hellebuck. So they've been masters defensively, and Hischier has a large role in that. The fact that he's going to, score 30 goals and be an 80-point man or 70-point man, whatever he ends up being, it speaks volumes to his play. So I'm not going to disagree with that. I also think Jacob Markstrom is in the mix for the Devils' best player this year.
The point I'm trying to make is there are other players other than Jack Hughes.
Without question.
That's the point I was trying to make. Because
and still the trade deadline, too.
Yeah, and, again, if they can play as a team and they don't get down on themselves because Jack is out, if they play well as a team and Timo Meier and Jesper Bratt and Nico Hischier start putting the puck in the net defensively, you've got Markstrom back in net, you've got your defense in front of you. They got to play better, but when Jack does come back, it'll be a better team than when he left. Assuming that it was an extended amount of time they'd be gone.
Absolutely. And James Nichols from New Jersey Hockey Now dropped a bomb. I don't know how credible his sources are, but he claims that now New Jersey's looking at Rantanen. And Rantanen could come for $2 million if Carolina retains on him for the rest of the season. The Chicago Blackhawks are retaining 4.5, and if that team retains half, you're getting a $2.5 million Mikko Rantanen for the rest of the season. Imagine if Jack joined him in Game 1 of the playoffs. It's a lot to. There's just a lot going on.
What would you give up for him?
I'm not giving up a first. Or do
for
they not
rental?
have their first? No, I'm not giving up. It's a rental unless they sign him long term. But I also wouldn't pay a winger $14 million. So it would be a this year thing, I think. I'm very much anti-pay wingers more than 10 right now until the cap goes up.
Why would Carolina make a trade to the Devils?
I don't think they would, right? Because if the Devils make the playoffs, there's a high likelihood they're going to play Carolina in the first round.
Unless the Devils can find a partner in all this.
Absolutely. And the thing people, Columbus, Rangers, they keep winning. The Rangers are 6 points behind the Devils. Columbus is only 4. Well, what about Carolina? Carolina's been trash since Thanksgiving, too. Devils actually were good in December. Carolina wasn't. They're 4-6-0 in their last 10. The Devils are 5-5-0. Even Washington's been mid in the last 10. They're 5-3-2. The Rangers have been hot. The Blue Jackets have been, much better. They've won 4 in a row. They're losing 2-0 to Tampa Bay right now in the first period in Tampa. But, it's a race, and all these teams are in the mix. The Devils can easily go on a nice little stretch here. Now, Dallas, it's hard to beat the Dallas Stars, right? Like this is a really tough game to be the first game without Jack Hughes because the Dallas Stars are second in the Central Division, but they only trail Winnipeg by 8 points. I say only, but I would pick Dallas in a playoff series over Winnipeg, no matter what the regular season standings look like in the end. They're 7-2-1 in their last 10. They've won 2 in a row. They are an astounding 22-7-1 at the American Airlines Center in Dallas. The Devils have a tough challenge today, and that's not going to really change my opinion on anything because I think Dallas is probably the best team in the West right now. At least where we stand right now, I think they're the best in the West. And it's going to be a tough game. I think if you're looking at the trade deadline, though, you got to be knowing you're in the mix. The only team way ahead of you is Washington. You're not catching Washington in all likelihood. There's a run that could go on here that the Devils host a playoff series Game 1 if they come in second place in the Metropolitan Division. It's not out of the question.
Yeah. Just reading all the comments. Wimpy, with or without Jack Hughes. Survey says there's a Four Nations curse right now with injuries.
Wow. And that's something that Tom could take advantage of. If Jack is out for a month, you could just sit him till Game 1 of the playoffs. That's $8.7 million free to use for the rest of the season. You can Vegas this thing. You could get Rantanen, Zucker, Raquel. I mean, you're not going to get all those guys. You're not going to trade every asset. I wouldn't trade next year's first round pick for nothing. Connor McDavid, Austin, like those, a package. If it meant bringing Brady Tkachuk long term, okay, fine. But for a rental or even a guy with 2 years left on his deal, a good player, I'm not. Next year's draft is unreal. Unreal. They're not going to get Gavin McKenna. They better not get Gavin McKenna because that would mean they stunk. But just all in general, next year's draft is awesome. A guy who goes 26th in next year's draft might go 5th in this year's draft. You want next year's first round pick if you can do anything about it. But it will also be next season's trade deadline. It will be good currency. You might be able to get a real good player for your first round pick if you're a contender. If you're the Devils and I don't know who's going to be I haven't looked at next year's trade deadline likely names to be moved, but let's say Stamkos is healthy and having a real good year and Nashville sucks again. And that first round pick might be enticing to Nashville. Like, okay, let's bring over Stamkos. Like, I don't know, I'm making stuff up, but like that, I would save it for next year. But you can get good players. They're going to be available to you.
Yeah, well, let's see how the Devils do against Dallas. They lost last time, right? When they played.
Yes, it was that game where Dallas went up 3-2, and then Jack Hughes scored twice to get them within one, and they had a chance to tie the game late and failed.
Gotcha.
A couple Saturdays ago.
I'm assuming Ottinger is going to be in net.
No. It is Casey DeSmith versus Jacob Markstrom.
Wow.
So, they didn't have Markstrom in that last time, the Devils, but they had DeSmith, and he played outstanding.
Yeah. Seeing some of these score predictions coming in. Yeah, I mean, my bet's on the Devils right now that they're going to find a way. They're going to find a way to win. Man. And I'm telling you right now, that, again, I've been very critical of Jack Hughes. Believe me, he's an awesome player. But sometimes he's a liability out there. And I think his hockey IQ, where I'm getting at, is Jack Hughes' hockey IQ is so high, Vinny, that I still prefer the Devils to play a more simplified game and work as a team, because when Jack Hughes is out there, he's such a visionary. He's 5 steps ahead of the play, but some of his teammates are only 3 steps ahead of the play. You know what I'm trying to say? And,
totally.
And I think right now, without Jack Hughes, I like to see this team without Jack Hughes. How they react. They're gonna have to play the body. They're gonna have to get in front of the net. They're going to have to cause some havoc. They're going to have to create their own chances now. And I think Timo Meier, is going to benefit from this.
I also think Timo's going to benefit from it. I think Jesper Bratt can hang with Hughes. I do not think Andre Palat can hang with Hughes. And I'm ready for that experiment to be over. I don't mind Palat playing on a fourth line. I know he would be an expensive fourth line or whatever. Once guys are paid, I don't care where they play. I care about the betterment of the Devils. If Jack Hughes got to come back to a team, though, when he is healthy, let's say it's game 1 of the playoffs or the final week of the season, whatever the case may be, imagine if there was just a shiny new toy for him to play with him and Bratt. When he came, like, that would be, and you can do that. You can make that happen. But we'll see how it goes. There's a lot of time between now and Friday. I believe it's 3 p.m. Eastern, your time, 2 p.m. Central, my time. But you can follow at Let's Go Devils Pod on Twitter, at Vinnie Parise, at Primetime Sam Wu, for everything that's going on with the trade deadline, because I'm going to be all over it.
Max says, if the Devils win tonight, I'll buy a drink for all the Let's Go Devils podcast listeners at the next game he's at.
Very good.
Big statement right there.
The Devils have rotated winning and losing for the last 12 games. They lost their most recent game.
Mm-hmm. All right, let's get to predictions.
Let's do it. I got chicken wings to eat before the game. Let's go. Predictions.
Right. Give us your predictions starting now. I got my prediction.
Lay it on me, Sam.
3-2 Devils. Tight checking. Great goaltending on both ends. Nail biter. Devils score with a minute left in the game.
Wow. Okay.
And it'll be Timo Meier.
I think I would go crazy. I mean, Sam, they were 0-0 with Vegas in the third. Vegas! One of the other best teams in the West. And then a bad penalty. Stone scores I think it was Stone, scores a power play goal, and Vegas is up 1-0 from there. It's like...
So what did you think about Wes McCauley? Was he the ref that...
I think it was. I can't remember.
I think it was Wes McCauley that threw Keefe.
Oh, throwing out Keefe for screaming at him. I take very little stock in that, and the only reason is because if you're Keefe, why wouldn't you blindly defend your guy and beg for a penalty and say that's BS and whatever, even if you know it's wrong? That's what coaches do. And if you're the referee, why wouldn't you just toss the coach and get rid of that headache with a minute left on the clock? Like, I kind of see both sides. Jack Eichel didn't do it on purpose. As much as I want to say F you to anybody who hurts Jack Hughes, Jack Eichel.
Jack Eichel's not that type of player.
Yeah, Jack Eichel's a good dude. Like, he knows he's playing hard. He was and I love the people. If Tom Fitzgerald wasn't the GM of the Devils, the Jack Hughes injury would have never happened. I'm like, what? Well, if the team was better, he wouldn't be trying to tie the game late. Like, newsflash: if the Devils were a better team, they would still be down a goal sometimes late.
But that was such a BS penalty on Jack the other way around.
Yes,
almost on a similar play.
It was a very similar play.
Yeah, I mean, do you think Jack Eichel warrant a penalty? If you want, in the name of consistency, the way they officiated the game, yeah. It should have been a penalty.
It should have been a penalty.
Yeah, it should have been a penalty. You know, I mean, but, you know, it is what it is.
With a minute 30 left, are the Devils going to score a power play goal to get within one and then tie it with the goalie pulled? It's unlikely. It's not like it.
Yeah, but you don't want
change the game.
Jack to get injured and let it go like all for nothing. At least get a power play. You know, it's
absolutely.
But, you know, the officials look at it at a different – I don't know. The officiating is still pissing me off. I mean, during the Four Nations, I thought it was good officiating till the finals where I'm sitting there with Mrs. Wu, and it's like, okay, that's a penalty. How come it's not called? Oh, that's a penalty. How come that's not called? You know, Jack gets hooked up from behind and slams on the board. How come that's not a penalty? You know, it's just, you know –
Totally. The Four Nations was reffed like a playoff game. Like the entire thing felt like it was reffed like the playoff.
Yeah, but Vinnie, Team Canada did not get one penalty in that game, and there could have been 5.
No. Yes, 100%.
That's where I have a problem.
Team USA took one,
yeah.
So it's not like they were over-penalized and Canada wasn't, but to not have one power play is crazy. Yeah. Like, there's no way you played a perfect game.
There was no way.
On the line.
There's no way.
Yeah.
You know.
So,
but
it is what it is. Do you have predictions to read from the chat before I say mine?
3-1 Dallas says Dubs is like defensive keeper. Yeah. Dumb score. Let's see here. Brian Wimpy says at least Scotty can enjoy the Pantera goal song. 3-2 stars says Mike Rossi. Wow. 1-4 stars says Wimpy. 3-1 says Tom. I don't know. AJ Visco, the law offices of AJ Visco, says 3-1 Devs. Ted says Devils 2-1. Selected Boy says 4-2 Devils. Max is 7-1 Stars. 4-0 Devils, says Joseph Lenham, F. Dallas, and all the Dallas fans in section 118. I'm assuming Joseph Lenham is going to the game.
Oh, yeah. Absolutely. Well, we'll see. I'm going to say 2-1 Devils. Two of the best defensive teams in the National. Two of the teams with the best goaltending so far this season in the entire NHL. We'll see if they're able to score enough goals and get hot. That top line is loaded with Meyer, Bratt on the flanks for Heischer. I'm excited to watch, see how they play. It'd be nice if someone in the bottom six could say, you know what? Hughes is out. The bottom six needs to score. The middle six needs to score. If I'm Dawson Mercer, or if I'm Andre Palat or Stefan Nason, I'm going out there and I'm doing everything I can to try and get a tuck tonight. You just really have to.
Is this game on ESPN Plus?
This game is on ESPN Plus.
Oh, I gotta adjust the TV tonight.
Yep, you can watch it on ESPN, Disney Plus, or Hulu.
I hate it when it's on these like off channels. You know what I really hate? I really hate okay, I don't mind the streaming services. What I mind is my password and username somehow resets and I gotta enter in it again on the TV.
That's the worst.
It's not exactly like the most intuitive keyboard.
Absolutely.
With the remote to do. That's why I get pissed.
Some of them aren't even QWERTY.
Yeah.
Some of them, they're like A through Z. Like, who wants to type on that? I've been learning how to use a QWERTY keyboard my whole life. I could do it blindfolded.
Yeah.
And you're giving me A through Z? It's stupid.
That's the only thing I don't like about streaming services. If somebody, maybe this is patent this idea, you know, there's Roku devices or whatever out there, where you can put all your streaming services all in one umbrella. But if they can just make it more intuitive, where it's like almost like the traditional remote, where up, down, up, down, up, down, where I don't have to switch from app to app to app, and I have like unlimited channels. So it's like, okay, I hit the channel button, I go from the ESPN app to the Disney app, watching some goofy cartoon, and then and then you hit it, and then it goes to another app, and then it goes to the YouTube app, and you're watching the Let's Go Devils podcast right now.
Yep,
something like that. It would be cool if they had some kind of like old school retro way of channel surfing all your streaming services, Netflix and all that stuff.
Absolutely.
Anyway. All right. Well, that's it.
Yep. Very good show. Enjoyed it.
Let me close the show because that little superstition didn't work last time. So
you take it today. All you.
So I want to thank all those tuning in, dropping the podcast in about 20 minutes. We're going to have Devils After Dark after the game. Yes, Scotty of SiriusXM, Liquid Metal, and I will recap the game that was. Yep. All righty. We're going to get out of here. Now I got to find my username and password on that ESPN Plus. Till next time, let's go Devils.